Hey there, Libra. Welcome to your November bonus reading for November 2025. You have this Breathe card and this Thinker card. I don't know. Whenever I get stuff like this, I'm just like, okay, it's Mercury retrograde this month, so of course we should probably like slow down, breathe, think about things before we do them, of course. I think a lot of people say Mercury retrograde messes with your thinking and all that other stuff, but it's not really true. It's just if we slow down and we kind of think before we do something, then, usually that is a better option than not. So, that's kind of like the feeling I get off of those first two cards. This card, I do like. I'll show you in a minute so you can actually see it, but there is kind of like this girl. She's sitting on these pedestals, and there's a level above her, and there's like a face that is looking at her, at the higher level here. And I also noticed that at the closer to the end, you have these two cards that represent fate. One says the Hand of Fate says forces beyond your control intervene, and you also have this fate has blocked this path for you. And I kind of feel that this card, or really the whole reading, could say that like your fate is being rerouted. It's like you're being directed to a new path. I don't really think our fate actually changes in life or anything like that. I think we kind of like have a path that we work on. I think we have a lot of flexibility, but it's almost like you're being kind of redirected back on your path or something. This card to me says that, the universe wants you to level up. It's like there's this face right here looking at her, and she needs to go to this next level in her life. It's almost like she's completed something. I kind of feel like you, Libra, have completed like a building stage or something that you have been building. We'll look into it in this reading. We're doing a Celtic cross. So your first card is how you enter into the reading. You have the Ace of Swords, which is amazing. Ace of Swords, and actually I just noticed you have the Ace of Swords on the bottom of the clarifying deck as well, which is interesting. But the Ace of Swords can be a victory, success. The Ace of Swords really wants us to cut something out. The sword cuts both ways, and we have this palm frond here, this olive branch over here. And the palm fronds in the tarot can represent making a sacrifice or kind of like cutting something out that is either getting in the way or no longer serves you or is kind of blocking you from fate. I said it in the 2025 readings that 2025 would be like a year of simplification. There's a couple reasons for it. And, the big reason being Neptune and Pisces. With Neptune and Pisces doesn't like extra stuff. It's like if you're doing something because out of like obligation, because you feel like you have to do it, you're really going to struggle with Neptune and Pisces, right? And so we have Neptune retrograde in Pisces right now. It's going to move back into Aries in January, but that doesn't mean that in January you can go back to doing things out of obligation. Again, we learn astrology for a reason. We go through something, we learn it, and we have to keep doing it after, right? Just because it ends doesn't mean we can stop. And so I kind of feel this is asking you to cut out the excess, anything that you're doing that you don't want to be doing. And, I understand we all have certain obligations we can't completely avoid, of course. So, yeah, sure, there might be some things that you have to keep doing just because. But, for the most part, if you can make things smoother and more focused with the Ace of Swords, then you will have a victory, is what the card is saying. Your crossing energy is the King of Swords. There is something about this retrograde. I think that, sometimes the King of Swords can be the curse of knowledge. It's like when you know too much, then that can actually be a problem. It's funny because many years ago, I used to say to my mom all the time, I had a business and I was, when I was younger and I was very successful, but I used to say to my mom all the time that like some of my competitors, like no hate, I'm not hating on those people, but I used to say like, these people don't know as much as I do. And they're like 20 times more successful than me. And she would be like, yeah, exactly. It's because they didn't think about the things that they did. I overthought everything that I was doing, and I would like try to be perfect and everything like that, right? So sometimes I think that knowing too much can kind of make us try to be perfect when really all we have to do is get started. We don't have to be perfect. We don't have to make things perfect. And as a matter of fact, what I had to learn the hard way is that you can't. It's impossible. It's impossible to start perfect on anything. And I feel the King of Swords is kind of really saying that in your reading. Next, in the area of what's on your mind, you have the Knight of Swords. Yeah, no running away. The thing about the Knight of Swords is that he's always running towards the past in a reading, and he's showing up in the area of your thoughts. So I kind of get a little bit of like don't give up energy here for you, Libra, on the Knight of Swords, especially if there's something you want to accomplish with that Ace of Swords. Ace of Swords is laser-like focus. You have to like pick something, focus on it, but also that means like your thoughts as well. If you're thinking like, oh, I want this thing, but I can't do it, I'm not smart enough, or I know too much, or I'm trying to be perfect or whatever. You have to get rid of all that as well, because everything has to be clear with the Ace of Swords. And the Knight of Swords can be thinking like you're not good enough, or, kind of having some little fears pop up that you're not going to be able to accomplish something. And I would definitely be careful of that. I do feel there's kind of like a good side to the Knight of Swords in the area of your thoughts, which is Mercury retrograde. Knight of Swords can represent quick thoughts or quick thinking. And, during this retrograde, it could say that you are having some good thoughts. I always say, like, I think retrogrades get a bad rap. I've had some of my biggest breakthroughs, and I know plenty of other people have told me they've had major breakthroughs during a Mercury retrograde. It can bring you answers. It can bring in quick thoughts. So I would write down your thoughts. I would put things down on paper so that you don't forget them. But, I do feel there's a positive to this. Next, in the area of your foundation, you have the Temperance card. Yeah, I feel pretty good about this. It's like you're willing to change things. Temperance is alchemy. And so if something in his life isn't working, or, if he's not getting the results he desires on something he's working on, he just changes it. He just transforms it into something else. And so, this is about transform. It's really the words I'm getting here are like growth through transformation. So again, if you're starting anything, working on yourself, if you're doing any personal development work, it's like growth through the evolution, the changes that you make over time, and, not perfection, right? So I think this reading is encouraging you to kind of like start messy in a certain way. I also feel the reading is definitely trying to get you on your path. Like, it's trying to get you on your fated journey, or whatever the hell you want to call it here, Libra. And, he has this path here with this glowing crown in the background. And it's almost like, again, with these, the cards that are showing up in your very near future, those two fate cards there, it's like you're kind of just, like, I feel like you're just being bumped over. It's like you're being kind of nudged in, like rerouted on the direction of your fate or your destiny, whatever you want to call it. Next, in your past position, you have this occupation card. It says work, business, labor, hobbies, project, self-employment, a lot of effort, all mental and physical activities. You have this main female. You don't have to be a female. Whenever I get these main person cards, it's just whoever I'm reading for. It says the querent, an important female in the reading, wife, partner, girlfriend. So I feel like this is just talking about you. And again, I feel the occupation card is talking about just, not working hard just to work hard, which is, again, is a theme, I believe, of 2025. It's like, again, the thing with Neptune and Pisces is the things we work on, we have to be inspired to, and we have to have something, it's like we kind of need a little bit of a mountain to climb. And, that doesn't mean you're going to be struggling. It's like, it's just more, I think, the mental challenge. We need, it's kind of like, it's like boredom. It's like, I think we've all been like a dog at the pound, which is very sad to me. But, it's like dogs in the pound, they kind of develop that, they get bored, I think, or something, right? And I think we've all kind of had that for the past few years. And it's like we need to realize that we have maybe been adopted by a nice family, and we have a big yard to play around in. And we don't have to like sit there and be bored and staring at a wall or anything like that. And, I don't know why I feel like saying that, but I'm not calling you a dog here, Libra, but that's like the feeling I get. You have the Magician in your past position. The Magician is mastery. I kind of feel this is like mastery for some reason. That's not what the Magician means, but he does have mastery over all the suits in the tarot. And so that's a word that's popping into my head for you, is that, maybe you've mastered some crafts, or you've mastered some skills, and, I feel now you're kind of doing things to use those skills in the real world. And, that's going to be a good thing. I do feel he's asking you to be flexible, especially with the Temperance card. He's literally, pointing to the Temperance card on the table. And so both cards are very good at transforming, one thing into another. And, again, part of me, now that I think about it, I would say that this is very Uranus and Gemini energy, especially for you being an air sign. You're going to use that energy like more than anyone except for Gemini and maybe Sagittarius, but you're going to be the one, and also Aquarius, I should say. But again, I think that transforming things is kind of what you're supposed to be doing. Next, in the area of the very near future, you have this hindrance card. It says, fate has blocked this path for you. You have this hand of fate. It says, forces beyond your control intervene. So it's like you're being rerouted, like I said, on your fated path or your destiny, whatever you want to call it. I feel like you are being kind of called to a new purpose here. And it's not really a new purpose. I think you're just being nudged back onto your path, or whatever you're working on in your life. So there is a definite element of fate in this reading. You have the Judgment card also in the area of your very near future, and Judgment is, again, answering the call to purpose. These people are rising up out of these coffins, and the coffin represents their old life. Outside the coffin is their new life, and so they're being called to step into their new life. And again, you could finally be getting some answers. Ace of Swords as well can definitely be some answers. Ace of Swords can be kind of communication, but it could be mental communication. You could be downloading information, or kind of getting information from your higher self or whatever. And I would definitely listen to that, because it's like you're being guided towards something that will probably lead to a lot of success here, Libra. Next, in the area of your outcome row, you have this laughter card. It says emotional release, joy, and connection. You have this master card. Master. I said mastery. There you go. It says wisdom, integrity, compassion, and truth. So there you go. You are mastering something. You're probably just mastering life in general, or your own life, or you're trying to take control over your own life is kind of what I get here. There's been a lot of cards of happiness in these readings for this month, these bonus readings at least. And even in the November readings, I'm pretty sure the sun came up for like everyone. So, I think that focusing on happiness, channeling happiness would be a good thing for people to do at this time, having more fun. Again, realizing that you're not stuck in the pound anymore. You're not in a miserable situation, but it's almost like you have to see it, is what this card is saying. Next, in the area of the next few months, you have the Seven of Swords. The Seven of Swords, it can be lying, cheating, stealing. But again, I think this reading is all about you, Libra, so far. And the Seven of Swords is about doing things in a different way, which comes up for everyone. Why? Because of Uranus and Gemini and a million other things that are going on. We are in Pluto and Aquarius. We're being asked to innovate every aspect of our life. And so, again, he's doing something in a different way. It's very simple. If we do things in a different way, we'll have more success, right? And so anything you can do to innovate, try new things, and have fun with it as well. He has these polka dots on his cloak. The polka dots can represent taking things too seriously and needing to be more playful. And so I think like a more playful, not caring energy, it's like not caring in a bad way. It's being more less, it's kind of like practicing non-attachment is what I'm getting at here. And I feel that would be a very good energy for you. Next, in the area of your closest relationships, you show up here as the Justice card. So this is all relationships in your life. And whenever you show up as yourself, it kind of puts you in a position of power and strength. And also, when you show up in the area of your closest relationships, it kind of says that, you are the one that will probably be leading your relationships, all relationships, right? And so, number one, you could be very popular this month, Libra, with the Justice card, and I would definitely put yourself out there and see what attention you can get. This can also represent you kind of practicing justice, or taking a neutral perspective on relationships, and it's kind of like you're weighing up your connections in your life. This can also be your relationship to things, like the things that you do, your habits, where you live, like literally everything in your life. And so a lot of you could be balancing those things out. I don't even think it has to do with balance. I think it's more like you are looking at the things that you have a relationship to, the people, places, and things, and you're saying like, this is good for me, this isn't. And you are maybe just removing the things that are not good for you, and I think that would be a good thing. Again, 2025, we're at the end of 2025, but we still have time. So 2025 is about lightening the load. Anything that is kind of making you feel an obligation, that is pressuring you, that's weighing you down, those are the things we need to remove now. Next, in the area of your future feelings, you have the Five of Wands. I would actually encourage you to take part in competition. like, I don't necessarily feel this is a competition that you're entering, but you could be entering into like a competitive field, or you could be doing something that is competitive. And I actually feel that number one, there's a lot for you to learn in doing that. Number two, I feel you can be successful. You have the Ace of Swords, which is a victory over competition. So, if there's any opportunities for you to do things that are more competitive, I would do that. Even in work and business, it's like sometimes I think if we're struggling to get a job, it's almost like the universe is saying, like, no, I want you to get something that's harder, or I want you to get an even better position, right? So, like, I would challenge you to kind of take those types of risks, or it's not even a risk. I would just, kind of enter into those competitions, because I think that you have the opportunity to win here, Libra, and I would do it. Your outcome is the Two of Swords. Two of Swords is like this or that thinking, but really there's a new option behind her here, and she needs to realize that she is not stuck. This can be a card of being stuck in a stalemate, and maybe some of you have felt stuck, but like I said, it seems to me like your fate is being rerouted here. So if you have been feeling stuck, kind of like taking your blindfold off might be very helpful. Blindfolds in the tarot represent needing to trust your intuition. And so I kind of feel that your intuition might already be telling you to, explore a different direction in what you're doing, and, especially in work, but, this could be something personal for a lot of you as well. And so I would explore those new directions. And we're going to clarify right now, and we are going to see what comes up for you here, Libra. Libra, make sure to like and leave a comment, by the way, it really helps me out. But let's see. With the Ace of Swords, here you go. With the Ace of Swords and the King of Swords, you have the Five of Wands. So exactly like I was saying, I feel that you could easily have a victory over something that is competitive, or over something where there is competition. So I would encourage you definitely now with this card here to enter into any competitions. The King of Swords, like I said, it's like the curse of knowledge, but it could be saying that you do know more than the competition, but you have to enter into the competition to win the competition in the first place. With the Knight of Swords, you have the Death card. Yeah, so sometimes I think death with the Knight of Swords is things that you don't want to see. The Death card, we have this Pope-looking guy, and he's begging for his life. This lady isn't looking at the Death card. Only the child is excited for the Death Rider. The child is holding flowers up to change the Death card, the Death Rider, on the card. And so the Death card sometimes, I think, can say that there are changes that we know we need to make that we don't want to look at. And, I don't know. We all basically go through this at some point. So I would say, be brave and, face those changes that you have to make. Or, this could be a certain amount of work that you have to put into something. And you're saying like, I don't want to do all this work to make this change. But I almost feel like the reading is saying, but it would be worth it. And, that's definitely what I would do with that card. With the Temperance card, here you go. You have the Six of Swords. Yep, moving on to calmer shores. If you step off onto this path right here behind you, like wherever you're being redirected at this time here, Libra, I think would be very good for you. The Six of Swords is, kind of like being guided. And there is a, the spiritual element to your reading. We have this guy right here on the Judgment card is your higher self angel. So it's like your higher self is kind of guiding you forward. And even this guy right here is a guide. He can represent like a physical guide. I think we have people in the world that guide us at some point or different points in our life. And I think we have spiritual as well. So, this could be literally all your guides are kind of like pushing you forward or pushing you in a new direction. With the Magician, you have the Eight of Pentacles. The Eight of Pentacles is efficient work. He's only working on one thing, and he's completing it. And it's crazy to me that a lot of people at the end of the year here are getting the Eight of Pentacles. So, I think it's because this year we have, even though we only have a couple months left, I think we have the opportunity to create something amazing at the end of the year here, but we have to, only focus on that one thing. And, I think that's the hardest part. The reason I think it's so hard to, kind of like focus on one thing is that, like, I feel like there are a lot of moving parts right now going on for all of us. So we probably have a lot of things to be concerned about, worried about. We have a lot of things to take care of, right? So when you're in that energy, it can be very hard to say okay, I'm going to focus on this one thing because it's going to improve my life. But, it's easy to say that when things are going well. but it's hard to do that when things are, challenging or whatever, right? And so I do feel there is a lot of focus in this reading. It's really encouraging you to, focus on what you can control, Libra, and that's what I would do. With the Judgment card, you have the Wheel of Fortune. Same, fate, a change in your fate, your destiny. I mean, this is your destiny. I always say the Wheel of Fortune is really your personal vision for your life. It's not like so much your destiny as the universe sees it. Sometimes it's more like how you feel your destiny, what your destiny is in life. And so a lot of you, there's a clear being redirected, if this card wants to focus in the first place, being redirected kind of like on a new path or in a new direction. And again, I think that in a lot of ways you're being nudged to move forward here with the Wheel of Fortune. And, the Wheel of Fortune kind of says luck is on your side. So I would take advantage of that here, Libra, and put the work in. With the Seven of Swords, you have the King of Cups here. King of Cups could be a person. King of Cups is your emotions. And, one thing I will say is that the Two of Swords at the end, she has those swords crossed over her heart. And, part of the Two of Swords is that she has to be emotionally vulnerable to a new beginning. Like, she's trying to protect herself. That's why she has those swords there. But the solution for the Two of Swords is to not try to protect your heart. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't protect yourself or have boundaries, but, that's, not really what that's about. It's about kind of like, anything worth doing, it's usually there's some sort of risk attached to it, like we could fail. And it's about realizing that there's really nothing you can do to prevent that from happening. But, at the same time, it's always worth it to, kind of take those risks and put yourself out there. Even if you fail, you learn something, but you probably won't fail based off this reading. With the Justice card, you have the Six of Pentacles. Same thing, basically, as the Justice card. He has the scale right here. He's giving to this person, not this person. It's funny that it's coming up in the area of your relationships because he's giving to this person because this person gives back. He's not giving to this person because this person doesn't. This person has ulterior motives. They have this like thing in their back pocket right here. And, when we say that someone has something in their back pocket, it's like they have ulterior motives. They want more from you, or they have like covert contracts or whatever, right? And so I feel for a lot of you, this is about you, really kind of focusing on the connections that give to you. With the Five of Wands, here you go. You have the World, which is an accomplishment or an achievement. Literally, the world can say you're coming out on top here, Libra. So like I said, there could be some sort of competition. It might not literally be a competition. It might be like a job that there's a lot of competition for. It might be a person. Maybe you're attracted to a person that you think has a lot of competition or whatever. And the World is like winning or having the accomplishment. It's also funny that we've been talking about like fate or your path or your destiny this whole time. The World is a completion card. So usually the World, we go from the Fool to the World in the major arcana, and then we start all over again as a Fool. So another kind of clue card or whatever you want to call it that says you're kind of like getting off on a new path. With the Two of Swords, you have the Nine of Pentacles. Every reading, it's either the Seven of Pentacles or the Nine of Pentacles that you always get with me. Nine of Pentacles is another card of focus, a card of your environment, of course, Libra, card of gratitude and luxuries, right? But, the thing about the Nine of Pentacles is that she represents heaven on earth. And the thing is that we have to create heaven on earth with the Nine of Pentacles. We don't just magically get heaven on earth with that card. We have to do something to make that happen. And, I would make sure that you are. You have this Candle card. It says you will be shown the way. Yes. These two Fate cards really stood out to me at the beginning of the reading. And it's like you're being shown a path or something. Even the Judgment card can be like getting an answer, getting some communication or something that guides you down the right path, right? You have this October card. You have this Frying Pan. It says trouble, accusations. Yeah, I would leave these behind. I feel like this is saying the things that you dealt with in October are done, over with, and you just need to move forward. You have this Target. It says a goal-oriented person. Ace of Swords. Again, Ace of Swords is laser-like focus. We have to pick a point in the future and just work straight towards it with the Ace of Swords. It's like the Ace of Swords is a very good card, but I think that is the hardest part about with the Ace of Swords, is because it's like, yeah, we have to pick that point, but we go like this to get there. You know, that's how life works. It's not like a straight line, but we have to pick a straight line that we can kind of use as our guidance system. And so having a goal, aiming at a target, is what this reading wants. Now you have this coins card. It says money will be coming to you. Money has looked really good in November, which is very surprising to me. Just based off the astrology. And, I think you can all see the things going on in the world that might make you think that money isn't going in the right direction, but I don't know. There could be a lot of opportunity. There could be some ideas that you have this month that you should pay attention to because they could lead to money in the future. This card's like making it rain. There are all those coins raining down. So I would, listen to your ideas. You have this wall card that says misunderstandings. Again, Mercury retrograde. I said something at the beginning of your reading about like being clear, or maybe I didn't. I might be making this up, but I think you should be, before you speak. Knight of Swords type energy, right? Knight of Swords, he can like jump to conclusions. He can be too hasty and not really think before he speaks. So, I would like slow down your communication a little bit, but really I don't think it's that big of a deal. This is a really good reading, Libra. I like it. So thank you for being here. Make sure to leave a comment, and definitely enjoy your month.